friends, Heidi here from Rain Country. God is good all the time. And today I'm going to show you how I make peanut butter granola. Now I have a few different recipes for granola that I'm going to be sharing with you down the road, but I wanted to start with the most easy one that I have, and it also happens to be our favorite one, and that is the peanut butter granola. So let's get started and I'll show you how I do it. All right, in this bowl here, I have 6 cups of oats. Now, if you want, you can substitute 1 to 2 cups of the oats with any kind of seeds or other type of grains that you may want to add to this. When I'm doing the peanut butter granola, however, I prefer to use just the oats in this. And it's just 3 ingredients, people. It's so easy. 1 cup of organic creamy peanut butter, but you can use crunchy, and 1 cup of organic raw honey. Now this is the Glory Bee blackberry honey that I've talked about before, and I'll link to it below. This is my favorite store-bought quote-unquote honey, and my very favorite is the stuff I get from a friend. It's the most tasty honey ever, and it's local, so it's just the best all around for us. But if you don't have a source of local honey, I recommend getting the Glory Bee blackberry honey. Just an awesome flavor. It's raw. It is from the Pacific Northwest, which is where we are at. But even if you're across the country, you may like this one quite a bit. Now, obviously, I got a little more than a cup. I went a little berserk with it, so I had to put a plate under it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I want to take the cup of peanut butter and put it in a saucepan. And then I'm going to add the honey to the peanut butter. And I want to melt these together on a low heat. So what I'm going to do once I have this in my pan is I'm going to go put it on the wood stove and just let them slowly melt together. Right now the temperature on my wood stove is pretty low, so I can safely do everything directly on top of the wood stove. Now remember, we don't have a wood cook stove. I just have a regular old wood stove for heating the house that we've had for many years. And over the years I learned to cook on. I just taught myself how to cook on it. So for those of you who are off-grid or planning on going off-grid, I hope that some of these ways that I do things on the wood stove are helpful. It's actually quite simple. Well, I'm in here at the wood stove and my peanut butter and honey are melting together pretty nicely. Just wanting to keep a good eye on it. Like I said, the fire is pretty low, so it's not real hot. You want to keep stirring it. If you're doing this on a conventional stove top, then just set your heat on low and just keep stirring and melting until it's smooth and well blended. All right, just about ready, and then I'll take you back into the kitchen and show you what you do next. So I'm back in the kitchen, and you can see how smooth this is, the peanut butter and the honey. And it is pourable, and that's important because I'm just going to pour it right over the top of the oats. Or if you've got seeds or anything like that, it'll be that too. Now if you're using fruits, dried fruits or anything, you want to wait and add those in later. And I'll get to that. I'll probably more likely get to that in another video where I'm using fruits in it. And then just make sure you get every little bit in there. And I find when it comes to blending it all in that just using a big salad type fork works really well. And you can use a spoon if you want. I don't know, I find a fork to work a little bit better for me. So you just keep mixing it in there, blending it well until it's all of the oats or oats and seeds are covered well and evenly. This, I would say, is probably the most difficult part of all this, which is not difficult at all. It's just takes a little time, a little patience to make sure you're getting it evenly coated. Getting all that goodness of that honey and that peanut butter in there. Now, if you're doing this in a conventional oven, what you're going to do is you're going to put it on a cookie sheet like I'm going to do here. I've got my stoneware cookie sheet. I will link to this below. I love these. It's the only kind I use now for this kind of stuff. And you're going to put, you may even want to use 2, but you're going to want to spread it out on your pan. I find I can do this much on a pan like this just fine. But if you feel more comfortable, you can use 2 cookie sheets for this amount. And if you, I forgot to say, and if you didn't notice, I had this pan already buttered. And this is quite a bit on a pan like this, but this is just how I do it. And get it spread out as well as you can. Let's see if I can get some more out of here. And then you're going to bake it, if it's in a conventional oven, at 350 for a total of 30 minutes. Now you're going to want to keep an eye on it for 2 reasons. One is because everybody's oven seems to run at different temperatures. Even if you have it set at a certain temperature, it can be a little bit hotter. My oven, my electric oven, runs hotter than other ones, it would seem. So I have to keep a close eye on stuff or turn the heat down a little bit lower. Now what I'm going to do is then I'm going to get a stainless steel spatula, and if you're doing this in a conventional oven at about the 15-minute mark, you're going to want to stir this up really good so it gets evenly baked and it starts to separate. Now doing this on the wood stove, I check it every 5 to 10 minutes depending on how hot the stove is. Now my wood stove is not very hot right now, as I've said, so this is probably going to take me at least 45 minutes to get it fully cooked. Even with it sitting directly on the wood stove. And then I will check it probably every 10 to 15 minutes. And but if if the stove is really hot, I usually set it up on a trivet and check it every 5 to 10. So I'm going to take this and put it in there, and after a bit I'll take you in the living room and show you how it's coming along. Alright, so this is about at the halfway point of being done. It's not quite, it's getting drier, but it's not quite loose. It's when it starts being totally loose, you don't have clumps, big clumps sticking together like that, then it's going to be done. And check for brownness, and especially if you're doing it on the wood stove like I'm doing, you're going to want to keep stirring it up. Now, remember too that if your wood stove is very hot, you can simply use like a barbecue, I don't know if you can see that back there, you know, a cast iron grill piece, and put that down. I do that quite a bit. Or sometimes I'll use the dehydrator rack that Mr. Rain built for me, and you'll see that in some other videos. In fact, I'll link to the video where Mr. Rain is building a dehydrator rack, and you can find that right up here. Okay, well when this is completely done, I'm going to take it into the kitchen, and I'll take you back in there too, and I'll show you what it should look like when it's finished. Alright, I just brought this in from the wood stove, and I want you to see the color and how loose these are. They should be nicely toasted all the way around. That's just the best flavor that way. And very loose. You can see it's not sticking together. And so now, and also you'll know if you touch it, it shouldn't feel sticky at all. And so now what you want to do is you want to let it cool completely. Once it is cooled, I like to store this. It'll fill up a half-gallon jar just right. Maybe a little bit more, but if there's a little bit extra, you can just snack on it. But I'm not going to show that because it's going to take a while for this to cool down. But if it looks like you can get in there, just keep shaking it down. And then, but don't put it in your jar until it's completely cooled off. And then it will be even more very dry feeling once it's cool. And then you have the option, if it's something you're going to use right away for cereal, you can just put your regular old, you know, plastic ball lid on there. Or you can do the vacuum seal method like I've shown in many of my other videos with either using the food saver, but my favorite way is using the brake bleeder and then just seal it in there. I've done this before when I've made a few batches of granola just to be ahead on it. And then I'll take the ones we're not using right away, put it in the jar, and then vacuum seal it and put it away. So if you're interested in knowing how to use the vacuum sealer, since I'm not going to do it right now, I'll go ahead and link to one of those videos. I don't know which one it will be. I'll pick one where I'm using it and I'll link it right up there so you can find that. And anyway, so that's just one of my granola recipes. Very simple, 3 ingredients. The next one's probably going to have 4 or 5. But that's going to be for down the road. So be watching for that. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video and that you learned something new. Thanks for watching. Take care and God bless.